Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we're tackling another list, and today we're talking Wii knives. But not just Wii knives, the actual brand, we're talking any knife assembled by Wii knives. That is technically not Civivi. We are going to leave Civivi out of this. I am considering Civivi their complete own brand in this instance, which they kind of are, but they kind of aren't. People will argue that Wii makes them, so they're kind of Wii's, but we're not going to call them that in this video. So there's not going to be any Civivis in this. It's going to be all Wii's or knives made by Wii. That could be something that is made by, a knife maker who did one specific production run. He decided to go with Wii. Those knives are available to be in this list. So that's the rules. Those are the only rules. And we're pretty much going to go over my top 5. Now, these aren't my all-time favorite top 5 because Wii has come out with a lot of great knives, and over the years I haven't been able to get my hands on all of them. But these are the top 5 that are still in my collection that I think are pretty darn amazing and have kind of stood the test of time and been in my collection long enough to where I know, yeah, I really, really love these 5. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it. But I do have a honorable mention. You know, it wouldn't be a top 5 list if I didn't have an honorable mention. So you can kind of slot this guy in at number 6. It may not necessarily be the 6th best knife, but it's a great one, and I think it does deserve a little attention. And it's a little bit of probably the cheapest we ever made. It's the Banter. And the Banter, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles and flashiness that a normal Wii does. As you guys know, Wii is kind of it's a very premium brand. They do extra special things, from certain styles of knives to the milling and details and quality, and primo quality is kind of across the board with them, but premium add-ons, things that you don't see on every knife. But the Wii is none of that. It's a no frills, simple, good knife. G10 S35VN, designed by Ben Peterson, formerly of Blade HQ, and it's just a really good one. But the thing that I do still really, really like about this Wii is you do still get that bump in quality. It doesn't feel like a Civivi to me. It feels better than a Civivi. The action's fantastic. The action's, when you talk action on a Civivi, you can't really say it's a whole lot better than a Civivi, because Civivi does kind of have the Wii action, but it's the feel. It's the click you get when you close the blade. You get that extra crisp click, and it just feels so solid. The G10 is maybe just a little thicker, or I don't know if they're using a different G10 or what, but this knife does have just a different feel to it than a Civivi, and I like that they did that, because this does cost a little more than Civivis. This guy's coming in at, I think, $110, but it is just an excellent knife. It's not intimidating. It's a great office carry. It's a great everyday carry, because it can handle just about anything you throw at it. That tip, as you can see, I actually didn't wipe. I usually wipe my blades off to try and make all these knives look brand new as I show them to you guys, just for the simple, I guess, wow factor or cleanliness, to see what they look like new. But this tip gets a lot of pretty good use from me. This is just, like I said, I keep saying it, but it's just a good one. Somehow, some way, with all the knives I have in my collection, this guy still finds its way into my pocket a pretty good amount of time. So it had to get on this list. I had to say a little about it. Just a really, really good one, a good fidget knife. The Wii Banter's great. If for some reason you want a smaller one, there is a mini Banter that Civivi is going to be making, that's coming out sometime soon. That's going to be really interesting to see, because this blade is really kind of the perfect length of when it comes to a small blade for me. I don't like a super small blade, but I have come to really like the sub 3-inch blades. But we'll see. It's got a nice little choil. It's very similar to this, but it's got a full finger choil. It's got some cool things going on. Keep your eyes out for that. That's going to be made by Civivi, and it's coming out, I believe, later this year. I don't think it'll get pushed into the next year, but we'll have to just wait and find out. Who knows what's happening now with production of everything is never always goes according to plan. So that is coming, though. The Wii Mini Banter, or the Civivi Mini Banter. This is the Wii Banter, and it gets its honorable mention on our list of top 5 Wii built knives. Now getting into the full top 5, we're going to start off with an older one. This one is, I think, going on 3.5 years old. This is the Booze Blade Smoke. And this was the front flipper that made me start hunting for front flippers. As I've said before, my first front flipper that really kind of did it for me was the Hia Designs Hunter. But right after I got that, I heard about this guy. And I missed the drop. I was too late. Anyone that knows Booze Blades, he is a custom knife maker, makes fantastic knives, and did a production run of his Smoke, which is just a very, very beautiful looking front flipper. Did a run of them through Wii, and I missed the drop. They sold out real quick. So then I started my hunt for this knife. It took quite a while, I have to say. Eventually I found one, picked it up off Reddit, and I've had it ever since. And it's not going anywhere because I just love this knife so much. Kind of looks like a fancy folding steak knife, but I mean, I love the lines of the handle. I love the cutouts there, how they're not circles, and they're kind of those these almost, they're really, you can call them diamonds at one point, but the way they sit, they kind of look more like oblong squares or something. But just a great, sleek front flipper with premium materials and the titanium carbon fiber. I believe this is M390. I was thinking it was S35, but this is M390. Just an excellent piece. And it was the first one that really opened my eyes to Wii, to see exactly what they have. I've had this knife for quite a while now. I've carried it a lot. And the quality on this guy is really second to none. I mean, you could put this up there with any Riot, with any other premium made knife outside of a custom, of course, and it's right up there. It's got everything you look for, and it's just fantastic. I really, really wish Booze Blades would come out with another run of these, and might as well do it through Wii because they sure nailed it the first time. Just an excellent one. You cannot find these pretty much anymore. You find them on Reddit on the secondary market, but obviously one you cannot get new anymore. But again, this is not my list of 5 best Wii knives available. These are my list of 5 best Wii knives. Some of these knives will be available, but this one is not. This is the Booze Blades Smoke. I believe it's TM1, I think is the full name. Yeah, Smoke TM1, I believe. Don't hold me to it, but Smoke is kind of the beef of the model name. That's what everyone will call it. Just an absolutely fantastic one coming in at number 5. Now, number 4, I was a little surprised that I put this at number 4 because I thought it would be higher on the list, but the more I went through all of them and looked at them, it's here. So that is the Wii Knives Black Void Opus. This is a Justin Lundquist design. This came out last year, and it really opened my eyes to a chisel grind. Now, I knew what a chisel grind was before, and I've had one before this. It was a ProTech CQ-C7, something like that. Kind of liked it. I will say this is a better grind for a chisel grind than the ProTech I had. No knock on ProTech whatsoever, but I find this chisel grind to be a little more effective. And what I mean by chisel grind, only one side of the knife has an actual angled grind. As you can see, this side is completely flat, and this has all the angle and really edge to it. And it works really, really well. It's a very efficient cutter. I don't see how it would give anyone much of a fuss for EDC issues. It'd work just fine. And it just looks great. It's kind of a modified, it's almost a modified sheep's foot, really, when you look at the shape of the actual blade. But I think it is probably considered more of a drop point. If you had to pick one, I probably would call it a drop point. But just a fantastic blade shape with a very unique grind. And you have those nice carbon fiber inlays. I'm not a huge fan of pivot markings. I prefer, if I ever had my choice, I would always prefer a nice sterile pivot. But I don't so much mind what Wii does with their pivots. They always put their brand there, the Wii symbol. But it's nice because it's really just 6 lines. I mean, it does, you obviously see the Wii, but it's just 6 lines. It's nothing too crazy. or extravagant or poppy. It doesn't take away from the overall aesthetic of the knife. When you look at this knife, the first thing your eyes go to is not the pivot. It kind of travels all over the knife to take the view in. I like that a whole lot, and it's one of the things that I think makes Wii's overall line just a little more attractive to me. Is there's nothing too flamboyant or popping to it. Everything flows together very well, and just love the quality in these titanium handles, and that insert is perfect. You feel very, very little transition line, and this is a full insert. It kind of looks like it almost runs off the handle, but it doesn't. It is an inlay, so it's very, very nicely done. Looks fantastic. Pocket clip works great. Looks good. Again, a very subdued. Got that nice flat pocket clip, which does help for the deployment of the blade. Gives you that clip to hold on to. Pop the blade right out. Of course, with this guy, you can also do the reach around very, very easily. And I love the way this flipper tab is worked. It's got excellent jimping, perfect jimping for the most part. Comes up towards the front, so very easy to just put your thumb on and pop that blade out. Justin Lundquist is easily one of the best designers of a front flipper ever. He just knows his ergos, and he knows how to put a front flipper together. Excellent knife. This is the Black Void Opus by Wii, designed by Justin Lundquist, coming in at number 4. Number 3, this was another one. I thought this one would be in the top 2, but it just got pushed out a hair. This is the Berg Blades Iron Pup, and this is another one. It's just it's a rather simple knife. As you can see, it's just got the handle, the drop point, or the clip point. But what really stands out on this knife for me is the grind. Has an excellent, it's kind of a unique, it's a little bit of a thicker stock, not super thick, but a little thicker than the normal stock, but it has an excellent hollow grind. A very nice hollow grind. If I can show it off here, it's kind of hard to, it's always hard to show off a hollow grind on a camera like this with not the best lighting in the world, but it is a pretty thin edge, but it's a nice combination of beefiness and sliciness. So this is a blade that would really hold up. It'd really hold up to a lot of hard use, and you still get the benefits of a good hollow grind. I also really like the sterile handle. There's nothing really going on here. So if you ever wanted to customize or do anything special, this would be an excellent knife to do that with. I have thought about certain things. I almost like to acid wash the flats and get some type of etching or engraving done there. I'm still thinking about what I want to do with this, but even as is, it's just a fantastic, beefy little knife. I'd almost consider it a tank just because it is so solid, and it is easily one of the best sub 3-inch production knives you can get. And you guys, you can find this still. This is available at a decent amount of places. You have to search it up because there's so many different retailers that probably still have a few left in stock. I believe they come in at I'm not sure. It's over 200. And I don't know why I'm saying this. It's either like 220 or 280. It's really hard for me to remember some of these prices because there's so many things I'm constantly reviewing. Not a cheap knife. But again, you get what you pay for, and it's a hobbyist industry. So, some people are willing to pay that, some aren't. Doesn't really matter. Whatever floats your boat, go for it. But this, it's a great one. If you like it, they're still available. Look them up at various retailers. Berg may even have some on his website at bergblades.com. But this is just a fantastic knife. I love the overall action. Thumb studs work great. You can do thumb or middle finger, and it just works fantastic. You can even, let's see here, I'm pretty sure you can slow roll it. Oh yeah, you can pretty easily slow roll it. Just always, like any thumb stud, getting a feel of when the detent breaks. Some knives have a really stiff detent or strong detent, and when you go to slow roll it, they kind of pop out on accident. This one can do that because the detent is dialed in very, very well. It's not a stiff detent, but definitely made to flick out and not slow roll out. But you can, if you want to, do the slow roll. But overall, just a great knife. Nothing bad about this knife. It's just very solid in every single aspect. It's why it's number 3 on the list of top built Wii knives. This is the Berg Blades Iron Pup. Coming in at number 2, I had quite the decision to make between number 1 and number 2. The knife I put at number 2, I was originally thinking was going to be number 1, but when I got them in hand and I thought about just my personal style with knives, I made the switcheroo. Coming in at number 2. This is the this is the Wii Snecx Mini Buster. And the only reason this knife came in at number 2, it has nothing to do with action or quality or aesthetics, just my simple style, my taste, which one I prefer. So I don't think you guys could probably guess number 1. I don't think you could, unless you really watch my channel a lot. We'll get to number 1 in just a second. But this Wii Snecx Mini Buster is fantastic. It's one of, if not the only Wii that doesn't have the Wii marking on the pivot. It's on the blade, and I love that for a couple reasons. One, it makes for a nice sterile pivot, which I prefer, but I also like the way they did this Wii symbol. They didn't make it too big. They put it all the way up in the corner. They did it the right way, and they could have easily screwed that up, and they did a very good job of it. So I'm glad that they went the simple route, just put it up in the corner, and this just looks fantastic. I've heard stories on just how strict and stringent Snecx was in the designing of this knife. Snecx makes a lot of his knives, or I think all of his knives probably, via CNC work, and he is an absolute stickler for detail, and you see it in this. It pops out in this so much. The extensive milling on the inside, you have a lot of milling on the inside to reduce weight, and then the milling on the outside, the little details all over the place. The back spacer, which is a slightly more satin finish than the darker gray, or I don't know if they're blasted or darker gray. I think they may be blasted. It doesn't really feel blasted though, but it kind of looks blasted. But just, I love the neutral vibe you get from it. You get kind of this technical, new age design with very interesting lines. And you also have a great pocket clip that is no frills, but it still even has a little touch of the design of the knife into the clip, which I like a whole lot. And then you have this blade up here, this sheep's footy Wharncliffe blade that is made using CPM 20 CV steel, and it is just a fantastic working blade. There are some people that don't really prefer Wharncliffes as an EDC blade. I am not one of them. I think a Wharncliffe makes a fantastic EDC blade for numerous reasons. One of the more common cuts I ever do is the good old draw cut, and it doesn't get any better with a draw cut than a Wharncliffe blade. So a lot of good things going for this knife, and it's just so super unique. This was really a breakaway from typical Wii designs. Wii does kind of in the past had their own design language to where it was a bit out there, not in a bad way, just very different. It set them apart. And this is also very different, but it's also very different from that Wii style. They did a really good job of incorporating the Wii quality and the Wii build, but also sticking to the design of Snecx, which I thought was very important and really did them a lot of good things on this knife, because it is just a great one. It's one that I don't think you can get brand new anymore. There may be a couple out there. If they are, happy hunting, because they'll probably go fast. I don't know. But man, this comes in this all gray or grayscale, and then there's a one that is also all black, and they're both, I think the black may have some brass or some bronze accents in the screws, but I don't quote me on that. I haven't seen that one in quite a while. This one stuck out to me right away, and it was the one I immediately wanted. I actually got this one through a pre-order through Knife Center, so just a fantastic blade. Easily one of my favorite Wiis, and really, the more I think about it, it might be one of my favorite knives. It's just a great one. It's one that I don't ever plan on parting. None of these knives are for sale, so please don't ask. But this is a great one, and easily number 2, the Wii Snecx Mini Buster. Now, coming in at number 1. Number 1, I don't think it's going to surprise anyone when you see it, but I don't think a lot of people could guess this one, because this is not a Wii knife. This is built by Wii, and I think a lot of people don't quite recognize that Wii built this knife. I'm sure a lot of people do, but it's not going to be one of the first ones that come to your mind. This is the Grathball Mira by Drop, made by Wii. And this knife, I can't say I fully approve of the wood and black, but I gotta say, I like it a lot more than I thought I would. And what really won me over with this knife was just the overall design. I love this blade shape. I love this ramp back here that gives a great place to put your thumb, and how your fingers fall into the lines and curvature of the handle. It's just awesome. And the wood scales are actually really nice. I love the wood and brass, or wood and bronze accents. They go together perfectly. I would still prefer a satin or stone washed or blasted blade as compared to a black blade, but it does go pretty darn well. It looks so much better than I ever thought it would. Excellent pocket clip, such a unique, elegant pocket clip. Carries deep enough for me. Nice. It's a milled, I believe, I'm almost positive it's a milled titanium pocket clip. And I love the way they did the screws. It just looks fantastic. This is such a classy knife. Easily the classiest knife with a black blade that I've ever come across. I don't normally relate a black blade to a classy knife. This is an exception to the rule. And what's amazing about this is the absolute buttery action that you get with this knife. It is a joy to fidget with. I mean, it is fantastic. Of course, everybody knows Gareth Bull. They know how to design a front flipper as well. And this is, it's so good. The smoothness of this knife, for me, it would compare to any other knife I have and be just as good, if not better. Ridiculously smooth. I don't know if there's anything different going on the inside of this knife. I've never taken this knife apart because I've never needed to, but it's so good. Effortlessly. I really hope, I know Drop isn't doing knives anymore. Gareth Bull needs to get with Wii, and they need to figure out a way to make more of these and get them out to people, because it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. In my opinion, the best knife Wii has ever made, for numerous reasons. I mean, I could go on and on about this knife, but it's just fantastic. I love the profile of the knife when it's closed. Even that is pretty stunning. And it's just, again, there's nothing I would change about this. I would just like to see other variants. I would like to see one with maybe titanium scales and a different color blade. But that aside, the actual execution and fit and finish and action, feel, everything is flawless. I absolutely love this knife. So happy I got in on this drop. This knife is another one. I believe this is coming in. It's 1.5 years old now. Probably coming on 2 years old. Can't believe it's been that long. But just an absolutely excellent knife. One that will never be leaving my collection, most likely. Fantastic piece. Let me know what you guys think. That's your top 5. Let me pull them all back up here for you again and do a quick little recap. Let me know which ones I missed, because I know there is a lot of Wiis out there that are really coveted and loved by a lot of people. But I can't get over these 5. These 5 here are definitely my 5 favorites. And I think they're just all excellent knives. We'll even throw the Banter in there, give the Banter a little love. But there you go, guys. Let me know what you think. What did I miss out on? What knife should be on here? And that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.